Madam Chairman, it's 5:30. Would you like to call to order?
Yes, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Guthrie Historic Preservation Commission for Monday, September the 10th, 2012.
Before we take roll call, the city planner would like to make an introduction.
I'd like to introduce tonight our newest member of the Guthrie Historic Preservation Commission, and that is Erin Brown. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
To give you a very brief synopsis of Erin's background, she is museum curator at the Territorial Museum. She has a bachelor's degree in museum studies, is well versed in that area. She also serves on the Oklahoma Museum Association and has written several nominations for the National Register, least of which is the nomination for the Mineral Wells Pavilion. So she's got quite a depth of background in historic preservation and historic preservation studies. So welcome aboard, Erin. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
The roll call, Commissioner Bothroyd,
Here.
Commissioner Bowers,
Here.
Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Kyle,
Here.
Commissioner Wood, Vice Chairman Robbins, you do have a quorum. The first item on the consent agenda, Commissioners, is the approval of the minutes of August 6th, 2012, which should be included in your packet. If anyone would like to discuss or make comment. There being none, Madam Chairman, would you like a vote?
Yes, please.
Motion to approve the minutes. Commissioner Bothroyd.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Robbins.
Yes.
The approval of the previous meeting minutes are approved as written. We've already discussed, and we're going to move a couple of the agenda items around tonight. The first item for consideration is going to be consideration and action on docket number 20111158 for a request to demolish the structure at 120 North Division Street, which is the IBC Bank. The applicant wishes to demolish the structure at 120 North Division Street, which is the IBC Bank. This structure was built in the 1970s and is used as a walk-in bank with offices and with a drive-through facility. After demolition, the applicant will obtain the appropriate construction permits to build a new banking facility. If there's any questions, do we have anybody from IBC Bank here tonight?
Right. Before we start the presentation, there's something I want to share with you in terms of demolition. Demolition is not a subject that we take lightly in the Historic District because our mission here is to take careful charge over the inventory that we do have. However, there are definitions of what the demolition process needs to consider. And one of this is the types of items that we have to deal with. One, a contributing resource, and another, a general resource. In your guidebook that we have under definitions, and we've had discussions off-site with representatives from IBC, a general resource in terms of historic preservation purposes is a building, object, or structure which does not add to a district's sense of time nor place and historical development, but may contribute in other aspects, such as contributing to the street wall. In this particular situation, staff recommends that this be considered a general resource. The particular structure of IBC Bank is fairly new in comparison to a lot of the other structures built in the late 60s, early 70s. The design work is not compatible with the rest of the historic district, and its demolition would be in keeping with this, so long as the other structure that you are going to be presenting does complement the rest of the historic district. So with that, I wanted to have the commission strongly consider that this be a general resource. Thank you. If you go ahead with your presentation, sir.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, good evening. With your approval, I'd like to introduce myself. Yes, sir.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. We broke this into 2 items. We need to have discussion and a vote on the demolition of the structures, the first item. Then thereafter, immediately, we can consider the next item, which will be the design, approval of the design of the proposed new structure.
No.
No.
Did anyone have further questions or comments about the demolition of the current bank at 120 North Division Street? Well, he's going to make a presentation as to the design of the new structure.
She needs demolition's the first item we're
Yes, sir.
talking about. If Carol's got discussion of demolition, she needs to be heard on that issue, and then we'll be heard, unless you have something you'll talk to further on demolition, then we'll talk about the new building.
However you would like to handle the agenda item.
Well, we're gonna do demolition first, so I'm assuming you want to tear the building down.
That is correct, sir. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Joe Castorena. I'm with Architectura SA. We are the architects of record for IBC Bank. With me today is also Jose Calzada, who's the owner of Architectura SA, and his wife Bertha. We arrived here around 3 o'clock, and we've been driving around ever since, fascinated with the quality of historic architecture that you have. Now to the agenda item. Yes, we have decided that the best course of action for IBC Bank is to proceed with demolition. And there's several, but principally among the several choices that the bank had is, the bank is looking to establish itself in this community with a facility as good as it can provide. In order to do that, we're going to have to do multiple modernization efforts to bring this building not only into compliance with today's standards for energy, for ADA, to modernize all the mechanical systems so that they're also energy efficient. It needs a brand new roof really, really bad. I'm sure you've seen the plastic that's flapping in the wind. We are also roofing experts. We've done multiple roofs, and I can tell you that roof, just that proposition alone, is very expensive. To make a long story short, so I don't beat this horse to death, is that for us to do all the modernization work, for us to bring this building into compliance, and the fact that the IBC Bank does not really need such a large structure if it doesn't have to have one in order to make its operation efficient, all of that added together is going to bring the total cost approaching a significant portion of what the fair market value of this building is worth. And to some great extent, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand that that is economically infeasible. It would take an enormous amount of money to bring this building into something that IBC is going to be proud of to provide for the citizens of Guthrie. And it's just not going to be a reasonable return on investment as well. This is a business after all, and any business owner can understand that. Again, this is not a difficult concept to comprehend. So based on that, in support of that, we have decided to recommend to the owner that we demolish the existing IBC Bank and come back with a new building that not only is more sympathetic to the historic fabric of Guthrie, but also gives them the type of building that they exactly would want to represent themselves to you and the public at large, that this is who we are, and I think you're going to be a lot happier with that particular new effort. So we are recommending that we demolish the existing IBC Bank at the corner of Cleveland and Division, and contingent upon your approval, of course, and then proceed with new construction of a new bank. Are there any other questions? It's going to be, it's going to,
Carol, you need to direct your questions to the chairman and the board, not to him.
According to when I read these rules, it's like public comment on what.
You can make all the public comments you want, but I don't want to get into an argument between you and the applicant. You need to direct your questions here, and we'll get it answered for you if you've got a question.
Would you ask him if he considered maybe selling the building he has that he doesn't like and build, if he says he wants a modern one, build in the parking lot?
Well, before I do that, based on section 19, you've got an application that follows this application for a new building.
We will be,
And is
yes,
this that
yes,
building?
yes.
Okay. Have you seen those, Carol? You can have mine.
Well, if I might ask a question, one of the concerns that I would have would be, you know, the length of time from demolition and, of course, how the demolition process is going to be brought about. There's some sensitive buildings around there,
Yes,
and if that's going to be taken into consideration during the demo.
yes. We're going to make sure that we're not going to be doing any wrecking ball type of demolition because
We're not going to have any TNT or... or-
no. We're going to follow generally United States Bureau of Mining standards, which require that we don't send any shock waves around that's going to cause damage. We're going to try to minimize, to the greatest extent possible, any dust. And it's not going to be a demolition that you commonly see on TV where this building is imploded. It'll probably be something on the order of about a 75,000-pound excavator. It's a claw, and it brings it down. It brings it down a little at a time, and the debris is hauled off. We'll haul it off daily if we have to. Yes, you'll hear some noise. You may feel a little vibration if you're right next to it. There will be a construction fence, and there will be a little dust here and there, but we will try to do everything we can to minimize it. This is demolition after all. But we will not be sending any shock waves in the ground that'll cause buildings to shake, brick to fall off, or components of these historical structures that I know are fragile to be damaged in any way. We definitely don't intend to do any of that.
So would you ask him how much the building would sell for, the building he does not want, how much it would sell for? Is there an appraisal of an insurance company wanting to buy it, or a bank wanting to buy it, a real estate company, somebody wanting to buy it? What would the market bring for the building is there?
If he wants to answer that, I suppose he can, or if he knows.
We are not here to respond to questions about the economic value of our client. That's their business. But the only mention I made is that to modernize this building, whatever the fair market value of that existing structure is, we're going to be approaching it by trying to do an enormous amount of interior and exterior modernization. And I can go down the long list of deficiencies that building has. I just pointed out the ones that are painfully obvious because everybody can see them as you're driving past them every day.
I mean, I'm not saying this is gonna happen, but in the past where like Sonic franchisee came into Guthrie wanted to demolish a building, the corporate office went to battle and said, that's gonna be a bad thing for us to do. They gave money to save the building. That's a precedent that they felt like that's a bad thing to do. And I don't know if you thought every historic town that had an IBC would be on board with people who procure demolishing stuff in the historic district. That would, maybe you could talk to the people about that. And also, Walgreens and Believe Eckerd's have a deal with National Trust that they'll stop doing it because a lot of towns think that's not a good thing for a corporation to do. And I wondered if you knew about that or if you wanted to consider it.
I'm really not the chairman, I'm the lawyer of this deal, but I was asked to be here tonight. And I'm assuming you've made evaluation that this building is not what the bank wants, and they want the building that you're going to submit after this application, if this one is approved. So do you know whether or not they have any desire to donate this building or give this building to anyone else, or do they want to use this location and build a new building?
The plan is to stay where they're at. They have no reason to give this building away and then try to find some more land somewhere else. They want to be in the heart of the city, and they already have this land, they own it. Why would they give it away? That would not make any sense.
I didn't say give it away, I said sell it for,
Or sell it. Why should they move?
and build on the parking lot.
If I can add a comment here, I think if you take a look at the full site plan, their new development encompasses that entire block. Also, we need to go back to the definition of a general resource. And we all understand that the location of this building is within the historic boundaries. However, that particular facility itself does not contribute to the building fabric of the area. Again, it was built in the early 70s. Its architecture is not at all compatible with the rest of the 1889 era buildings there. And it does look like, and that's for this commission to consider, that what they are proposing to put in new would be a better complement than the 40-year-old building that is there now. I mean, the white brick building that is there now does not go with the rest.
And I have a loan at IBC, and I have a checking account at IBC in my bank. I deal with the corporate office. I won't be your customer if you do that. But if you tear something down, where do people go to make deposits?
Assume they're building a new bank there, I think, or
Thank you.
How long does it take the building to build? I was just curious about what happens to your customer.
May I respond? First of all, let's address the issue of corporate policy. Whatever IBC's corporate policy is, isn't in contrast to whatever your city policies are. We're not proposing anything that's illegal or outrageous. We're proposing something that is legal, that is, in our case, what we think is proper, because that will bring the best possible facility to your town. And I think you're going to be awfully proud of it. So we're not here proposing something that will cause anybody here on this commission to approve anything that is deemed illegal or that it's causing damage to your city or bringing any kind of shame or anything approaching that. So there's two policies here. IBC's, which is bring the best possible facilities, hire everybody local, and let's be part of the community. And also, there is all your local ordinance, and we intend to meet all of that, period. I have no choice.
I think Ms. Herzl's question is what's going to happen to us as customers of IBC in the
I'm going to let Jose
meantime?
Calzada answer this question.
Jose Calzada also work with Joe. The intent is that there will be a temporary facility put on where the parking lot is on the back, and they will have full facility of to service the customers. Normally on a bank like this, this is what is called high priority. You're looking at demolition of probably a week and a construction time of maybe 60 days. This is, we had to keep the pain short. This is a very fast construction. We won't start until everything is already in place. We don't long delay. So we have done banks similar to this in 35 days. We have done it before, so I'm saying 60 days. I'm giving myself some buffer for. So it would be a 60-day, no more than 75 days of 2.5 months that the temporary facility will be used while this is being built.
I'm just trying to brainstorm. I'm not trying to be against you all, but I think there's a lot of considerations.
No, we cannot leave you without a bank.
I'll read you what we are, because I get confused. Guthrie has the largest contiguous historic district on the National Register in the nation.
IBC does not feel that this bank, which was built in the 70s, provides any enhancement to the historic district. And believe me, I personally am the one who said, this bank it doesn't belong in Guthrie. The bank that is there is all back in the 70s lines and so on. When you come to the heart of Guthrie, with all this red brick and the limestone and the sandstone, that's Guthrie, and we feel that this bank does not help you enhance your city at all. And first of all, it's white.
I think it was actually the late 70s,
Yeah.
possibly even around 80s.
Maybe in the 80s, yeah.
Maybe
So
around
this white building just doesn't belong in Guthrie, and that's what we feel like changing it to. This is a far more costly investment to do than to try to fix the building. We're trying to enhance Guthrie and make Guthrie more getting to the heart of Guthrie than like these other banks that have done in here. That we're trying to do better. We feel that keeping that building will just not enhance or help the city at all. I mean, I personally don't like it. It's kind of out of place.
Would you introduce yourself?
My name is James Long, and as I actually like the new I also think something that the committee should strongly consider as we have this committee in place to help preserve our historic downtown, as we've noticed, or we have come to realize in the past, we've knocked down some pretty incredible buildings that we wish we wouldn't have.
Yes.
However, is this building being constructed in the 1970s? Are we going to come back in 30 years and wish we wouldn't have knocked down 1970s construction? Because, I mean, look at construction made by Frank Lloyd Wright. I mean, his construction doesn't belong anywhere, but people love to have architecture by him. So I think we need to look, even though it doesn't complement the downtown area, does it construction as a whole really complement era and time? And should we want to preserve construction that may be from the 70s and doesn't fit with the early 1900s, but does really preserve a period in time, which I think, as this committee really holds true for the historical, 1970 still has a time in history that we need to consider.
May I respond? Part of what you're saying is true. Will this bank be demolished again in just a few years? Possibly, maybe, or maybe not. The important thing is that the historic fabric that truly is historic is going to continue and be here 40 years from now, and hopefully another 100 years or longer. However, we want to make sure that we don't try to mimic it to the point where our new building is sort of becoming another Williamsburg, where even the employees are going to be dressed in the wardrobe of the time. There is a point that we can take classical and classicist too far. And we want to make sure that though we are sympathetic to the historic fabric, we don't want to do something that makes fun of it, so to speak. Everybody will look at this, and because we're not fooling anybody, nobody should be offended. This is a new building. It's a modern building because it's built in the modern era, but it's not trying to make itself look exactly like it, because I think we need to make a distinction between what came originally and what came later, and it's just trying to be a good neighbor to what's the original historic core of the city. So can it be torn down in a few years? Maybe, maybe not. But the important thing is that the effort that we're making here is just to make sure that it's sympathetic, but at the same time, if it needs to make way for something yet even better that does honor and justice to Guthrie, then so be it. And that's a decision for the authority having jurisdiction at the time to call and make that call. And that's the only way I can respond, because who can tell what the future may bring?
Commissioners, does anybody have any comment?
Myself, I'm very impressed with the new look. I mean, you think back at the blonde brick that we were talking about of the City Hall that we had for a while, from 1955 until we got this one that we're in. He's already, I mean, looks like they're going to try to, it looks like with the windows similar to the Foucault era, the red brick, the limestone. I think it's very nice, and obviously they've put a lot of thought into this and looking at our city already.
And although the flat roofs too, though,
Yeah.
you know, they just are not made to stand the test of time, and we have noticed your tarps flapping, you know,
Yes,
in the breeze
we
there.
do a lot of flat roofs. I'm replacing a lot of flat roofs in San Antonio right now, and they do have their special problems. What we decided to do was do this somewhat neo-Romanesque building, but put a pitched roof on it. A pitch roof, a gable roof is perfect. You can't improve it. It's like the wheel. It cannot be improved. And we wanted to do a building here that is simple, that has dignity, and is friendly. And that roof that sort of recalls a home makes it look friendly. And that's sort of one of the strong images that we want to project to everybody, that it's all of those things. And of course, we wanted it to be architecturally distinctive as well. And I think we've accomplished all of that.
Madam Chairman, I think that'll come up under the next item, building components, design components under the rebuild portion.
Okay.
I have a question. During the demolition, the eastern portion of that parking lot, are you going to utilize that? I know that there's some, of course, it's y'all's property, but the YMCA, they use part of that as the parking area and stuff. Are they going to demo all that at one time, or do you think that'll remain that parking area there?
If somebody's using the parking lot for whatever reason, we'll have to meet with them and see what we can work out. Little teamwork, little coordination goes a long way, and we will do our best. Remember, this is a construction site, and it's a demolition site. And contractors, especially the one that we use, which is Jim Butler out of Tulsa, we impose on him lots of insurance requirements, not to mention all the usual payment and performance bonds. And we can all say and believe that building codes run the construction industry, but I can tell you from having been doing this for years that insurance companies run the construction business. No contractor will even show up without having the proper insurance. That insurance company that the contractor uses may say, and I may have to say no to that. So it just depends. If we can accommodate it safely and everybody's happy because the bank actually requires all of these things, then we will do it. We will do it.
Well, I know this other portion is part of the next item, but do they plan to demo the entire parking lot?
Yes.
No, all the parking lot, at least that last row, double row on the end is not being touched.
The far east end?
You're talking about the back?
That should be the east end, yes.
The east end, okay.
Yeah, all that eastern portion, there's no need to touch it.
Well, that's probably where your mobile bank will sit,
Yes.
probably during construction
But
anyway.
we got so much land. Yeah, it's somewhat, you got two complete rows of parking. You have a copy of the existing on black and white, and the last two rows don't have to touch.
That really wasn't set up real well for drive-through.
No, yeah, the current bank has some issues with the drive-through.
Mr. Long?
I would like to point out if they're not going to be demoing, that aesthetically, that those things be looked at, not to be trying to butt up asphalt or concrete together, but make it look aesthetically pleasing. As we leave tonight, if you look at where bank first demoed a building and created a parking lot, it's not very aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't match up. There is no, they tore down trees, and it does not look appropriate. So I'd hate for us to allow another project like that to happen downtown where it's not aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, that's a good
If they're not
point.
going to demo, if they're going to stop their demo project at a certain particular point, that whatever goes back, that it matches or looks like it was done professionally.
Okay.
Well, that would kind of be in the next portion also, next item, but will you be putting concrete or asphalt on your new parking lot?
Usually, the bank wants to go with concrete. It lasts longer. You don't have all the issues related with asphalt that it's not a question of it's going to fail, it's just a question of when. Concrete lasts a lot longer, it looks better, it makes the ground plane look more clean and finished. And if you're driving on it, I think you're going to like that a lot better than asphalt that's been worn out or not maintained well. If there's other issues with the ground plane that are associated with aesthetic impact, we will take a look at it and see if we can mitigate or accommodate some of these issues as much as we can. Because this is more a aesthetic thing as opposed to a building code thing.
So is that a yes, it's asphalt, or yes, it's concrete?
No, we usually do concrete.
I wanted to ask Jim, I know that what he's thinking about too, along Wentz Street, there are a number of trees there. And I can't think now, are those on city right-of-way there, or?
I think all
Yes.
those are.
Those Bradford pears.
Okay, so
Yeah.
nothing would change as far as that look. So,
You're not going to disturb the trees that are basically in the pedestrian sidewalk on that east end
No.
of the property?
No, and it's a very good point, and we will certainly make a point to maintain a lot of those, all the trees that we can, and even incorporate on even that side planning some of that. I agree with your point. That's a very good point that we will have in consideration as we develop this project. I like your point. We will make sure that we save as many trees as we can on that. And including, as a matter of fact, I like the brick sidewalk that you guys did in here that we're not showing. I think that's a very good asset. we will be doing that as well. If I like the idea of the sidewalk made out of brick.
As part of the plans that they submit, they will also be including a landscape plan. So once we get into the construction drawings, we'll have a full landscape review also from their documents.
Further discussion?
Anybody else?
Anybody like to make a motion to approve or deny
I'd
or
like to make
table?
a motion to approve the application as submitted to request for the demolition of the structure at 120 North Division.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Vote. Commissioner Bothroyd,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Robbins.
Yes.
The application for demolition of 120 North Division is approved as submitted.
Thank you very much.
The next item on the list, in continuance of this, is item number 20111125 for approval of the design of the proposed new structure at 120 North Division for the IBC Bank. And as you know, our architectural renderings have been provided, and Mr. Castorina and Calzada are here to answer any specific questions.
Could you orient us to what side of this is Division Street and which side would be Cleveland?
That right there is facing from Division, kind of, if you're in front of the alley, on Division. No, okay, that's the corner of Division and
From the
Cleveland.
library right there.
Correct. Yeah, that's a look from the library.
Okay, so the,
And then the one that has that right there is looking at the alley. I guess.
so you will access the drive-through through the alley just like you do now?
It's an entrance right next to the alley. It's not on the alley.
Right, okay, that right there.
The alley is full of cables and wires and posts and.
Yeah, it changed it up quite a bit right now where your drive-through is, your lane, that's actually parking facing the north.
We're using the current entrance that is there now.
Right.
To enter the parking.
Right, it faces just like this.
Yes.
Okay, so this would be your Division Street view.
Ms.
And really,
Randall?
to come in from Division, you'd have to go almost all the way to Wentz and come back behind there, which is, I guess, not that big a deal.
The entrance points to the new bank will be identical to what is there now, pretty much.
Yeah, well, maybe,
The building is just the way it is now, the most of the building is right there on the corner of Division.
see,
Yes.
that-
What-
this
that's
would be,
what they're
this
gonna
would be
have
the
to do.
east side then.
Okay, that's East Bank, okay.
Okay, yeah, that would be right. Okay, so this is the front of the building.
Okay.
This is the side, and the ATMs are on the east. Yeah, that's the one I need to get out.
Okay, well, I'm assuming that all this concrete's not gonna be there. I mean, you're seeing Division, but we're not gonna have all that in front of
That's got to be Division.
Yeah,
Is this Division Street, though? I mean, I know what you're saying, but this looks like a parking lot. So
That-
this is Division right here, that we're looking into the parking lot, right?
no, you're looking into the street.
Yeah, this is Division, and this is Cleveland.
Okay, I see what you're doing. Okay,
So that,
okay.
because here's the two set outs here that are here and here. So it's Division, and then
Okay.
Cleveland would be running behind this here.
Okay,
So it sets just like the building does now.
That's correct.
okay.
With the exception that you won't have a north entrance where you have now.
That's true.
You'll have a south entrance and a west entrance.
Correct.
That'll kind of be your main,
Only from the parking lot and, yeah, directly from Division and the main entrance to the building.
The intent here is to make sure that the public knows where the front door is, so we the way we handled it is to use an entry pavilion. And usually in architecture, the public never need ask the way, and I think it's pretty obvious where the front door is. Nobody needs to be wandering around. Here's the front door, come on in.
Those doors, they're set back in there a ways, aren't they?
Yes.
That little tower type thing there, it kind of sits out there by itself.
Yes, we noticed that several of your structures here have central towers of a different style that's kind of, you know, part of the Romanesque, and that's what gives this place a little bit of great interest and charm, because you just don't see that very often. It's a great eclectic mix, and it was done tastefully, and it's been done so well, it's still here, because people have always recognized it. We thought we would have some of that, but not to the extent that it was done here, because again, this is not of that time. We just wanted to be friendly toward that.
Now, over those windows, is that a cast stone that you're showing, or
Yes.
is that going to be a stucco?
No, it'll be cast stone.
Cast stone.
And we noticed that there's another bank along here that uses a similar lintel, which is a flat arch with an emphasized keystone, and we decided to use it. There's so many details that you have. The masons here were amazing. I see so many things, different coursing patterns, corbelled tables, corbels for this. It's like something I don't usually see too often, and I live in a historic district in San Antonio. And
I wonder how come they left it off the drive-through area?
well, there is a connection that's made there, but again, we're also talking about there's an organic connection between the driveway and the body of the building. But to bring some of those elements around, we felt it was just more easier to build this thing if we just make sure that the driveway, the drive-through and the main body of the bank appeared like they belong together, but are different.
No, I don't believe they have handicap parking at all.
I mean, clearly, a drive-through is not a historic structure. There were no drive-throughs here back then, and there is a difference. And we drew the line somewhere. And I think we have a view of what that looks like. A bigger view. If you notice, we did use the brick, and the roof continues over it like a big tent over the drive-through, which is, I think, a vast improvement over what you have now. And that's what the organic connection I'm talking about. It looks like it all kind of belongs together. But because most of this is open and it's air, we felt that most of the details should be, and rightfully so, be applied to the main body of the building, which is the bank building itself. For no other reason. Yes, we can continue to add more and more detail until it's profuse, and I'm not sure what we would be accomplishing.
Now, you did mention that this building is smaller
Yes.
than the footprint of the building
Yes.
that is right there, right now.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Plus, it's a two-story structure that's there now.
Yes, and to sort of give the building presence, that's why we used a very expensive standing seam roof. It's still a one-story building, but when you put that big roof on it, it gives it the presence that the current two-story flat roof building has. But I think this has more.
What is the pitch proposed to be, around 5 or 6 or
512.
512?
Could you talk at the microphone, please, because this is on TV and they can't hear you.
The roof pitch is 512.
What's the roof made of?
Standing
Metal.
seam metal roofing?
It's the metal.
Yes.
It's
No, metal roofing, metal roofing.
going to look an awful lot, Carol, like the roof that's on the, over at the Jelsma Stadium. Be very similar. I suppose you're talking about a bronze type thing.
There you go, yeah, bronze.
Ma'am, Oklahoma has a long and great tradition of standing seam roofs, just like Texas. There's many examples all over the state of standing seam metal roofs on brick buildings, and it's a very good roofing system.
But you know, you look at that, you don't think it's a 1890 to 1910, you think it's a 2012 because of the roof.
The roof is going to give it an appearance of being sort of, and give it a residential aspect, and that's one of the things that we always try to add since we want to make the building look friendly. The current building is a little stark. It's very angular, and it's got a flat roof. And to me, that's not a very friendly building, though it was done about as well as it could be back in the 70s. That was sort of the state of the art. We've come a long way in modern design since then. And I think, like I said before, this will give the building the quality of it being architecturally distinctive and dignified and friendly. And that's basically what you have here in Guthrie. All these buildings are grand, but they're friendly, and they're all very, very distinctive.
Sorry, I don't mean to ask all the questions, but at the top, by the roof, over the top of the brick, is that ephes or is that cast stone?
Are you talking about the cornice line?
Yeah.
Usually, we're going to use ephes there, unless there's going to be a reason why we can't, or there's a code issue. It'll be ephes. And we know how to use ephes. It's not going to cause any problems. I think the industry has learned from the mistakes of the 80s with Dryvit and other materials like that weren't working. We know now how water vapor was getting through those installations, and measures have been taken in all industries that do this type of construction on what to do now.
Anything more from staff?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Commission, are we ready to take a vote? Or somebody make a motion that we approve this has been submitted?
I think I have one more question.
Okay.
The lighting in the building, is it going to be underneath lighting and going down?
You
Your
mean,
lighting, where's your lighting going to be on the outside of your building?
okay, we will light the outside of the building, and we're going to have to work with staff on it because everywhere we go, there's a different standard for lighting. Some people in other cities, I won't mention them, they kind of gave the impression that they could see our building from outer space because we had so much lighting. We thought it was safe because it was a very dark area at the time because there was nothing there. It was undeveloped land. Whatever the standard is here, we will meet it. But yes, the building will be lit from the outside tastefully. We're not going to blast it. And if we're exceeding any lighting standards that you may have, and you may have some as we start exploring the actual construction of this and the development of the construction documents, we'll make sure we meet it. But there will be lights outside, absolutely, especially under the drive-through canopy.
That's a good point. Well, we have an opportunity to review the landscape plan because that was one thing I was going to ask was about the light poles.
We'll be glad to bring the landscape plan back to you.
You know, one of our former commissioners, Commissioner Scott, used to say that you could do brain surgery in that parking lot.
We say eye surgery.
Eye surgery.
Let me just mention, we will be working with the city on their standards on lighting. But I did wanted to mention that ATM has regulations on lighting. And then around the ATM, you have to maintain so many foot candles up to 100 feet away from the ATM. So the ATM area, by law, needs to be protected. Therefore, around the ATM will be brighter than everything else. Now, all the lighting will be what is called zero skylight. So it's all directly down. All the lighting we use is LED on the parking lot. So there will be no light pollution, as we call it, is what you were looking for. There will be no light pollution out of the building, and we are careful about that as well. But the ATM needs to be illuminated wisely.
Well, and there's an ATM there now, so it shouldn't be too much different later.
No, it should not be.
Mr. Long?
Just two things, both were kind of mentioned, and they may fall into the landscape, but I appreciate you mentioning the brick sidewalks, because if you could go back with that, that would be wonderful. I think that would really add some aesthetic appeal. And the other two, regarding the lighting, I think our community our downtown takes great pride in being able to light up during the holiday season with our Christmas lights. And I think building this type of building, trying to mimic to some degree what we currently have, you install the appropriate Christmas lights to add appeal to your building, to add to our downtown. I think that those things should be considered.
Okay. And then as he mentioned, the ATM lighting is under the canopy, so it really shouldn't project up, so it shouldn't really take away from the lighting either, so.
I'll make a motion, we approve the application design as submitted.
For a second.
I second it.
Commissioner Bothroyd,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Robbins.
Yes.
The application for the proposed new structure, the design is approved as submitted. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We intend to do you proud. Thank you.
Thank you.
And as you bring your plans, we'll meet once again with the HP Commission to take a look at the landscaping plan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, that would be great.
Madam Chairman, the next item for consideration is for application ending in 1159 for signage requested by S.E. Higgins at 115 South First Street for new window signage. This item was tabled at the last meeting because we didn't have enough answers for the questions you had. Is there anybody from Higgins here tonight? We have folks here tonight that can answer any specific questions. There was, and should be in your packet, the same design. I think this is from a card from the last meeting.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize you all had the business card. I thought you had photos of the signage on the window.
Hang on. Do we, folks?
No, I don't
Well, I was
think
going to
so.
say, it looks an awful lot like a business card.
This is what we had last month and this month.
Right.
No,
No?
that's all we have.
I'm sorry. First of all, I'm Sansaray Colette Higgins. I am the owner and manager, and my husband Dennis. Now, we requested per instructions of the code enforcer to complete a sign permit application because of the lettering on the glass. We do not have a sign affixed to the building. We have lettering on the glass.
Right.
So he made that clear to us. So we submitted the application and paid July 24th. So we're here to see if we are in compliance with the lettering on the glass.
Okay.
Because I do have a copy of the historic district's guidelines on the signage for lettering on the glass. And we just want to make sure we're in compliance. So that's why we're here today.
Well, usually what we have submitted is the size of the glass and then the size of the applique on the window, because it can't exceed 30% of the coverage of your glass.
And-
So without the figures in front of us, or knowing, what your glass size is, what your sign size is, and if you're falling in that parameter.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not prepared.
Okay.
Because I didn't realize I needed to bring that. The code enforcer did come by and take photos.
Okay.
So we thought that went along with the application. We do have photos of the building before and after, and of course, I do have the size of the 8-inch letters that are placed on the glass. He specifically explained to my husband as the 3 letters that say HPS on the door were the letters of concern.
Okay.
So specifically in the guidelines, I don't have, there's no specific inch or requirement in the guideline book that I have.
Okay, yeah, it just has to be that your area cannot be more than 30% of the coverage of the glass.
It certainly is
You have a
not.
picture with you, or?
I don't have it with me. I do have it at the shop. I'm not prepared.
Okay.
Well, do we have
He's
time?
going to check.
Check,
Perhaps
see.
we go to the next one and then
Next one, and then maybe
come
you
back
can run and get a
in a
copy.
few minutes?
In a few minutes or something?
Sure, would that be
If
okay?
we need to run and get it, it's right on the counter,
Okay, real close, okay.
because we're close.
That might not be a bad idea.
What, do we have 2 more items?
You know what? That might be a good idea.
Okay.
That might
Just
be.
to be on the
So we
safe
can
side.
take care of it, yeah. All right.
Okay, moving on. The next item for consideration will be the request by Mr. James Long for new signage at 206 East Oklahoma. This, you do have in your packet. I think we have a picture of the storefront,
Okay?
and we have a picture of the proposed sign.
Is.
Okay.
Does that say Ella Rose?
I don't-
The Ella Rose
We will
Boutique?
find out. What is the Ella Rose?
She's gonna,
She's gonna tell us.
Okay, she's coming. All right. Hi.
I'm Wendy Potter. I'm going to be the owner of Ella Rose. It's a women's apparel and gift boutique. We're going to try to have a wide range of clothes for different ages, older adults, not kids, and at reasonable prices.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Is this going to be affixed to the window or a sign behind the window?
it's going to be a decal on the window.
A decal, okay. Okay. Well, I think we're going to run into the same thing we ran into with her, is we don't have sizes.
Well, James is actually working on the windows right now, maybe getting them replaced with different sizes or fixing the ones that are there now, correct?
Right, we're currently working to try and get the windows that are currently there repaired. Maker's Glass here in Guthrie cannot do that. And so Ed Wood recommended another glass company, I can't remember the name of the glass company, that has done some historic things downtown. So I'm getting in contact with them, see if they can be fixed. If they cannot, then we will have to have them replaced. And they currently, it's a two-bay window.
Yes.
And so, the glass company recommended a smaller bay, possibly a three-bay instead of two bays, to bring those glass sizes down. But until we have not sought that avenue yet, until we can see what thoroughly is there can be repaired.
Okay. Okay.
Do we have the color chart for the colors?
Yes, I have it right here.
And what color is the green?
It is the cedar crest.
And the rest is black and white?
It's the birch tree. It's kind of a beigeish color. And black.
And black.
Find that.
Are you putting one in just the left or the right window, which, you know, you've got, like you said, you have the two bays?
Correct. Yeah, it would, I mean,
It would be only in one,
Okay,
unless
then-
there's three, and it would probably be in the center.
James,
one in the center.
if you replace the windows, are we going to have to look at it again anyway? I mean,
well, I don't know.
I would-
Look at the sign, but we'll have to bring the windows to you because
Yeah.
of the recommendations.
so maybe like tonight, you could approve the design of the sign, the colors used, and then when they figure out the window, the glazing issue, and then we can figure
They
what
won't
size
come
we can
back.
put on it.
Right.
Because if you break that window up into
Bark and-
separate pieces, it's going to change the
Change it
coverage
altogether.
than if it's two large pieces now.
Okay.
Just 30% of the bay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can approve it based on the current design, and then maybe once we determine the window size, maybe it could then be just determine whether or not.
Yeah, we can bring it back at no extra fee or anything. It'd just be a matter of rehearing it again. But, you know, the colors and the overall design.
They just can't exceed 30%, right?
Yeah, or we could send it out with that provision that, you know,
That stipulation that, it can't exceed 30%, so.
Of the window.
That would be great.
that would be good, yeah.
Do it.
It's a lovely sign. It's really,
Thank you.
really pretty, real feminine, sweet. Okay.
I thought it fit.
You did a good job, Phil. You did a good job.
Now, wait a second. She brought that in before Saturday.
Now, are you gonna put anything on your
Nice try.
door? Are you
Um,
gonna put any type of signage on the door or anything like that? Or is this the only sign you're going to
This,
do?
as far as right now, this will be the only sign. If I decide later, I would bring it back to you guys.
You could put your store hours on the
I was,
window.
that's what I was gonna
of
ask.
the
Can I
door.
put hours, or is that,
No,
Okay.
I think that's allowed, almost a given.
okay.
What are your hours?
I'm not sure yet. I'm thinking 10 to 7. So, and closed on Sundays. Have a family day.
That's a long day. 10 to 7. That's 10 to 7. Well, If we could have someone make a motion that we approve it as with the understanding that it not exceed the 30%, then, you know, whether you go with 2-bay or the 3-bay, then we'll be good. Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Sharon makes the motion.
I second it.
Sandra seconds. Okay. Do we have a vote?
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Boatright.
Yes.
Application is approved as submitted with the condition that it doesn't exceed 30% coverage of the glazing.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, done there.
It's kind of hard to tell just from a picture.
I guess this is after and this is before. Oh, wait. No.
Did you know that you were in the historic district?
Yes, sir, I did.
You did when you started?
Yes, oh yes, I've been here all my life.
Didn't you relocated, didn't you, from South Division?
We did.
Over there by,
We
Help
were,
me out.
we were next to Carl's Junior's.
Carl, yeah.
Mr. Bozark gave us the opportunity to purchase this building.
Very nice.
Okay, well, I'm way off then, because I thought you were over there on Division.
January 3rd, we moved in the new location, 115 South First Street.
We'll have to get out more often.
Right now, they're just south of the post office and just north of Gage's Steakhouse.
Right.
You want to pass it back down? Sharon hasn't seen.
Is that white, the colors?
yes, it
on
is.
the lettering,
Yes.
that's white.
And it's actually a temporary fix for us right now. We will submit our specifications for the sign, the actual permanent sign that we hope to affix to the building at a later date. But this is just a temporary.
The question, Jim, is about the size of the lettering on the copy, print, fax, and we designed for you.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to exceed the 30% rule, I wouldn't say. I don't know what you all think. And there have been recent applications for businesses that want their offerings, you know, to be shown on the windows. You know, copies, faxes, resumes, business cards, you know, just whatever it is. There's been other ones. Can you help me out as to who they were?
Copapelli Village was one.
Who?
Copapelli Village.
Yeah, that was one, and Johnny's Fair Food was another one. He had his, kind of his menu on the outside of the thing there, but, did you have any objections to that?
Wouldn't stand out as
It's not
The serif,
the dark colors.
you know how we usually do the serif
Serif,
type
yeah.
thing.
Renee pointed out that we're kind of partial to the serif font that's got a little tail action going on it, and they could consider that, I think, on their permanent signage.
Absolutely.
Are you going to have a local sign maker for your permanent sign?
Well, I have checked with Mr. Blair, with Blair Signs. He did give me specs before, and we're doing a comparison to a
Okay.
couple of others we have out of
Okay.
Oklahoma.
And there's another one in town also.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah, Yes.
over by Thurman's Barber Shop.
Oh, unique design.
Unique design.
Right, yes, Jared.
Yeah, I think if you just tell the sign maker that we're kind of partial to serif-style fonts,
I am too.
and, okay, and then for your permanent sign. But this is temporary.
Right, they can just be peeled off. These
Yes.
look a little blocky and not,
They're a little stark.
thank you.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are. They're a little bit stark for what we really like to have,
Okay,
but, you know, if you will keep that in mind
I will.
when we do that, we'll have something that's more like your HPS, you know, something with a little bit of flair.
Okay.
Jim, is it, because you've been down there and photographed, do you feel like it falls in our 30%?
I hadn't been down there to
Oh, you haven't
photograph.
been.
It was the other gym.
Okay, the other
But,
gym.
yeah, I do feel that it's appropriate for, I don't think it's out of line for a temporary sign. Did you have any idea as to when you might look at your permanent signage?
I'm going to say after the holidays. I really kind of put it on the back burner, but after the holidays, I'd like to kick it off the first of the year.
Okay. Well, we can just do that if it's acceptable to you, and after, you know, the first of the year, January, February, if we don't have another application, we'll send a reminder out to the owner.
Okay.
For an example, as you were talking about the starkness, and I notice you have the book with you, I believe, on
Yes,
that.
I do.
Thank you very much. If you, when you get a chance, under SG9, under design, it talks about lettering should complement the historic resource and the sign design, and that borders are recommended. So, you know, possibly bringing some of your description together and designing it, you know.
Yes, we did that before. Previously, with the sign we had affixed to the building on
Okay.
South Division.
Okay.
Of course, I coordinated with the code enforcer at that time with the actual layout. And
Okay.
before we even ordered the sign.
Okay,
But we will do that again as well.
sounds great.
Right, so that's what we want to set it up as this is a temporary sign.
Temporary signage, yes, and permanent signage to be addressed after the
After the first of the year.
new year.
Okay.
Great.
That be all right?
Yes, that's fine.
All right.
Okay.
Can we have a motion to that effect?
Also move.
Okay. And a second?
Second.
All right.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Thank you.
Bothroyd.
Yes.
Okay, the signage that's currently displayed at 115 South First Street will be considered temporary signage, and the applicant will submit after the new year application for permanent new signage.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in, we appreciate it.
Any new business?
Oh, ma'am.
No new business? Any comments from commission?
I have none.
None? Well, then do we have a motion to adjourn?
I motion.
There we go.
We are
And a
adjourned
second?
at 6:35.